All right, so we're just going to go over a quick deck recap over the red, white, and blue tournament that we did in the casual Discord. For those that don't know, that's for basically just monsters that you're allowed to play are either fire attribute, water attribute, or light attribute, and all other monsters are non-playable, including tokens. And then also burn, spell, and trap cards were all banned except for Ring of Destruction. So something like Magic Cylinder or just desserts, those are all banned. That way people can't just kind of play like bird decks and kind of ignore the monster restrictions. So I went with a light base return deck, which in hindsight it probably would have just been better as a light based aggro deck and left out the return, just kind of made it into basically my own version of Earth aggro but with lights. And then this is what the deck is. I'll just kind of quickly go over it. So only one's a Borg, and then my other tribute was kind of like a half tribute because if you draw it, then you can use it as a tribute summon, but most times it's going to be summoned off of the Silent Swordsman level 3 effect. Even if it's in your hand, you can still summon it off of level three's effect. So I had like one and a half tribute monsters. Another Zaborg would have been handy at times, I think, but I didn't want to run three tribute monsters. I felt that would have been too much. So I just kept it with one Zaborg and one Silent Swordsman. And I really did want the Silent Swordsman level 5 because the level 3 is like a really good target for Shining Angel effect, which I'm surprised that no other light decks was running that combo, the level 3 to level 5. I found it to be quite good. If you're not running the level 3, then basically your best Shining Angel targets are stuff like DD Warrior Lady and then maybe like Roulette Barrel, which kind of felt kind of weak to me. So I felt that the level 3 as a target for Shining Angel was really good. Two Soul Purity and Lights. I don't really want to run three because the two banish light cost is pretty high. Plus, we're also running two Freeds, which one of these should have been a Sasuke Samurai or Grand Ninja Master Sasuke instead of two of these, but I'll get into that later. But yeah, just two of these. These were quite good. Um, Unfortunately, these can't kill like Roulette Barrel and other 2000 defenders, but it also protects them from getting crashed over by other stuff. So because of that their effect. Thunder Neon, I had three of these. This is really good. I would absolutely keep this at three. There's only one other monster in the deck that's not light, which is Tribe Infecting Virus. Um, the only bad thing I kind of saw with them running the Thunder Neon is because I was also running creature swaps, and I was worried that we get into a situation where because I had Thunder Neon in the field that I wouldn't be able to like creature swap a Shining Angel and take something that's not a light monster and then just gets destroyed. But that never really came up. I think there's only one duel that I ever had where I had Thunder Neon out in the field and then I couldn't summon like a tribe, but it wasn't really that big of a deal. So they're just the 1900 beater. This is stronger than any other beat 4-star beater, I think. Your next highest for would be like that vanilla water dude, the whatever that it's 1850. That's the next strongest level 4 beater. One Azura Priest. I thought this would be really good for one, it's a good creature swap target, and then also because I think pretty much every deck would probably be running recruiters. Shining Angel's a pretty decent recruiter, especially because it helps fuel your graveyard with lights for banishing. And then it's got a couple of good targets. UFO Turtle has like a lot of good targets with stuff like Solar Flare Dragon and Ultimate Baseball Kid and um, Raging Flame Sprite, things like that. So level 4 or UFO Turtle has good targets for fire, and then Mother Grizzly has good targets as well. Probably your biggest one is going to be like Sinister Serpent as a way to search that instead because Sandgan isn't allowed in this event. So if you're running a water-based deck, you're gonna have Tribe obviously, and then you're probably gonna have two of the Abyss Soldiers. So Sinister Serpent's going to be a really good card that you're going to want to get to as fast as possible. So you're going to run probably Mother Grizzly just to be able to search it, and that way you can have that Sinister Serpent as a free discard for your water monster effects. So I felt like every deck was probably going to run recruiters, and then with the Azura Priest, you can just kill off all the recruiters or get rid of them or just creature swap it. But it never really performed that well. Like I don't think I ever used Azura Priest to attack a recruiter, and there are some times where I was just kind of siding this out, so I kind of underperformed. I don't know necessarily if it's underperformed just because it wasn't very good or just the situation never arose in any of my duels. Three Shining Angels, that's fine. I already went over that. Two Magician of Faith. They never really put in much work. I mean, I think I got maybe one or two Trinity cards off of these, but I mean, they're still good. Two Freed. Like I said, originally one of these was a Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke, and then I switched out because I wanted more banishing potential for return, but that was a mistake. I think I very quickly just started siding in the Ninja Grandmaster again because I was seeing quite a few roulette barrels, and roulette barrels are really annoying. So, because Soul Purity and Light can't kill it, so you really do need that Ninja Grandmaster. So, 100% I would have put the one Ninja Grandmaster back in, and then Free just in general is a one of is a good target because it does a good job of killing off monarchs, which is gonna every attribute had monarchs. Fire has the Stalos, light has Zaborg, and then water has Mobius, obviously. So good does a good job of killing off monarchs that are kind of annoying to deal with. DD Warrior Lady is just a good card no matter what. Silent Swordsman already went over. Like it's just a good Shining Angel target, and then lets me get to Silent Swordsman. Also, Silent Swordsman effect isn't great. I mean, it's kind of okay. I mean, it means you can't get Snatch Stealed or Brain Controlled, and then also Creature Swap. Like I said, I figured that pretty much every deck was going to be running Recruiters. So if every deck's running Recruiters, then there's a good chance that they're running Creature Swaps as well. So if, Silent Swordsman's my only monster on the field, then I don't have to worry about it getting Creature Swapped away as well. So it was kind of a good effect. And then Tribe, that's just a good card. Two Rotas, I'm running a decent amount of warriors. I think one, two, three. I got like four warriors. If I side in Ninja, that's like five. So that's enough for good Rota targets. Pretty much Freed was like my most common Rota target. Sometimes Ninja Grandmaster if there was a roulette barrel out in the field, and then sometimes DD Warrior Lady if I just needed to get something off the field and I didn't have enough lights to banish for Freed. Creature Swap, this did quite well. I was kind of worried about running it sometimes because like the Thunder Neans, I said, but it pretty much was just always like a good card. I was able to creature swap over like a lot of Shining Angels, and it just worked out well. Only one knock because there's not a lot of strong flip effect monsters. Your strongest one is going to be Magician of Fate, and then Kotetsu is kind of a good one, but I don't think anybody was really running that. And then after that, it's like maybe like Penguin Soldier, I guess. So you don't really need like a lot of set monster destruction. So I only did one nobleman. Roulette Barrel was getting set too, and then maybe like recruiters would get set a decent amount of time, so you could possibly argue having two of the main deck, but I only had one, and I wasn't like I was really missing it. I had the other one in the side deck, I think, and I never brought the other nobleman across out into the main deck. I don't think. One Book of Moon. This is meh. I mean, it was mostly just a combo with Magician of Faith, so I could try to get more Trinity cards. I think I only did it like once, maybe even once. I don't know. But it was just kind of meh. Giant or Swords are revealing light. This is to kind of go with the return package. So I did swords and then Giant Trunade. Giant Trunade was to go with like return, so I could try to go for OTKs or like a one turn push. Um, and then swords is just kind of good to like help me set up. Plus, I could like play swords and then have my summon out my Silent Swordsman to protect him, and then get like a free special summon off of that during the standby phase was kind of the idea. And then just combining that with Giant Trunade, I could play swords again if I need to. Um, Giant Trunade did quite well. Just as a one of like it kind of overperformed more than what I thought. Even though after like a lot of duels, I was just siding out the returns. Giant Trunade still, I just left that in just because it was kind of nice to just kind of catch your opponent off guard with it. And then the rest of these are just all staples. Two Dust Tornadoes. This was to combine with the return. So being an aggro kind of player, I play a lot of Earth aggro. That what you can do with that is you can set Dust Tornado and then keep your return from the different dimension in your hand. And then if your opponent tries to MST this Dust Tornado, you can chain the Dust Tornado and destroy the MST and then use a secondary effect to set the return from the different dimension. And then on their turn, and then when it's your turn, this now becomes alive, and then you can use return from the different dimension to try to go for a game push. Same thing, which is like if they set a trap card or something, they set Mirror Force, you can chain this at the end phase, killed the mirror force, set the return, and now when it's your turn, return becomes alive. But this kind of combo just didn't really end up working out that well, just because of how aggro based the tournament was. There was just like a lot of light decks, so I ended up pretty much siding out the returns just for like trap dust shoots, and then the dust tornadoes just for like smashing grounds and stuff like that. Um, One of the biggest regrets I had was not having Sakuretsu armors at all. Another reason for the dust tornadoes is that because water was available, I was worried that water-based decks would become like a big focus, like a played a lot, like Legendary Ocean. So people running like Terror King Salmon, like level 5 star water monsters that are tributes that are like 2400 attack, like Terror King Salmon or Mecha Fortress Beast or Whale or whatever, and use Legendary Ocean's effect to turn them into 4 stars and normal summon them. I figured that if I had Dust Tornado though, as soon as they play the Legendary Ocean, I can just Dust Tornado it right away, and then they can't summon out that level 5 as a level 4 and prevent them from being able to beat over my kind of aggro style monsters with higher level or higher attack monsters. Plus, if they're using Legendary Ocean, they're going to power up their monsters to be bigger than like my tribute monsters. A Terra King Salmon would be at 2600 attack that could kill a Zoborg or my Silent Swordsman. But I didn't see any water decks at all. And then the rest are just kind of the staple traps. The side deck is a Borg. I never brought that in. Ninja Grandmaster, I brought that in like almost every duel. This guy, I went up against one deck that was kind of had like a fire element to it, and I did eventually bring it. It's 1500 light, so it's a good water or a good Shining Angel target. And then the effect makes it so that if there's any fire monsters out in the field, it boosts it to 2000 attack. So it's a good target against like a fire based deck. Roulette Barrel I never really used. This is more of an aggro based deck, but I put it in the side deck just because it seemed like a good card. Time Wizard is just for the memes. I never used it. Smashing Ground I did bring in a couple times. This I never used at all. I figured that this might be a good choice against decks that didn't like banish any of their cards at all, but I never brought it in. Another Book of Moon just for kind of like synergy with Magician of Faith. I don't think I brought that in. Another Knock if I needed it. I never brought that in. The Compulse was for like very specific things. It's kind of ended up being not good. Like I don't think I ever really used it, and this would have been a lot better if it was just Sakuretsu armor. Um, there was something specifically that I had this for, like that I wanted to put it in the deck for, and I forget what it was. Trap Dust Shoots, I was bringing this in very often. This ended up being quite good. And then the third Dust Tornado. The third Dust Tornado was for stuff like basically just like fire, like Raging Flame Sprite, attack directly and have like Gravity Bind and Level Limit Area B. Like I didn't want to have to lose to like, a burnish attack directly deck. So that's why the third one is in there to help with back row destruction. Plus, I didn't have Mobius in the deck. I thought about changing the Saborg to a Mobius, but because I had 3 Thunder Nians, I didn't want to have another non-water or non-light monster that would make it so I can't summon these or just kill these off. So I decided not to. Maybe it probably should have been a Mobius instead of Zaborg, but it didn't really matter. And then we'll go to one of the replays real quick here. So I'm going first right now, and let's go next play. So this was probably, turn the sound off. This is probably the best performance that I had, or the best duel. It was 2-0 for me. So just to kind of show what the deck does, and then you can see the other decks too, which is kind of cool. So this is going to be a ritual for the Paladin of Dragon, kind of a light aggro deck. That's interesting to see. We can see right here that he's already doing Manju and then going for the Paladin. And the Paladin's effect is actually going to negate my Shining Angel because it has basically the same effect as a Mystic Swordsman, where it just destroys any set monster that it attacks. So I don't get this effect, but it's a lot beefier at 1900 attack, which is nice. And then going to go in with the Shining Angel. I'm still in a good spot there with what I have in my hand. So Pot of Greed obviously helps too. So right now I'm just kind of thinking, and I go with just the DD Warrior Lady. I want to get the Paladin off the field because it's annoying, especially with like having both Magician of Faith and Shining Angel. That's kind of stuff that's good to set. So he's gonna Saku that, and I'm gonna banish 2 and then bring out the Soul. And because of Soul of Purity and Light's effect, it decreases your opponent's monster's attack by 300 during their battle phase. So he can't crash his Soul of Purity and Light into mine, and then I can't crash mine into his. But this will basically keep me safe for right now. And then I just set the Rhoda as a bluff because I've already got 3 monsters in hand, and there's nothing really to Rhoda for right now. Here's a creature swap. So summon out this. This is what creature swap, which is really good for this kind of stuff right here. So I'll just make him choose what he gives me, and then I'll attack the. I still can't crash because of the effect, but I can just take advantage of the creature swap and then just get myself another Shining Angel. So he's going to kill that. And then this is kind of like why the level 2 is really nice, is that because I can just do this right here, where I know he can't attack me again because he doesn't have any monster. So now my level 2 or 3 is just going to become the Silent Swordsman level 5, and then I can crash that because they'll both be 2,000 even with the effect, and get that off the field. So here's the effect, and then I turned this to defense because I didn't want to just get blown out by a Mirror Force, which ends up being what happens. Duo to make sure that he discards that, which was a good discard because he was low on cards, so this would have been boosted to 2,000. So I'm going to go try to crash into the Soul, and I get Mirror Force. Not a big deal. Now I can just kind of set my Magician of Faith here. He still can't beat over this again because this gets reduced down to 1,700 attack and this says 1,800 defense. So he's going to knock. Not a big deal. Losing the. I mean, I would have liked to have gotten back a Pot of Greed, but I'm still in a very good position, I would say. So now I'm going to Rhoda for the Breed right here. And I've got plenty of lights in Graveyard that I can banish to kill that Soul of Purity and Light. You can see that like Azura Priest is kind of just doing nothing. Partly just because like the creature swap, I ended up using it on a Shining Angel instead of the Azura Priest. He draws a Dead Heavy, so that's going to be the game 1. So you can see, also see on that, like I didn't use any of the return stuff at all. Like I mean, obviously I didn't draw it, but it wasn't necessary for me to win the game. It was like very much more of like an aggro style, like warrior earth aggro beat down kind of duel. So my opening hand right here is pretty bad. Like there's nothing really strong enough to stay on field, although 2 trap dust shoots is nice, but I'm going second, so there's a possibility that I don't even get to use them. Luckily though, I do get to because they just eye sets. So I think I Rhoda for my own Ninja Grandmaster and try to crash here. And then he's going to run into a Sakuretsu armor. That's not a big deal. Like Ninja Grandmaster on the field is not that big of a deal. Oh wait, no, it did crash. Okay. So then I set my trap dust shoots. And so I'm going to get to look at his hand. So Naka, I know that I can't set my own Moth. Premature Burial, he's only got 1 target for. And then the 2 traps, Mirror Force and Torrential Tribute, I know now I know I need to play around those. So let's send back, obviously, the only monster. And I think he just Primas the Sasuke. And then the nice thing too is that because as long as he doesn't set anything or whatnot, I can play my Trap Dust Shoot on the next turn as well because he'll be at 4 cards in hand. So I just take 1,800 here, and he doesn't. So that means that for sure I can Trap Dust Shoot him again next turn and try to make sure that he doesn't have any monsters at all. So I'm just going to Smashing Ground here. And then I can just kind of summon out the Silent Swordsman because I know nothing's going to kill it. Because unless this face down is, but he hasn't played it yet at all, it's just going to be 1,000 damage. But also because next turn I can trap Dust Shoot. If he does get a monster, I can send it back. And then the traps, he'll have to use one of the traps to basically kill the Silent Swordsman level 5 that's going to be coming next turn. So here it is. Next turn he draws a monster, but I trap Dust Shoot it, and he can't even use that to search out another monster, which he pretty much really needs right now. So he sets just the Mirror Force, and then I draw Duo, which is really good draw. So right here, I'm just going to be able to. Well, first, I summon out the Silent Swordsman level 5, and no Torrential happens, so I'm pretty sure that means that this is going to be Mirror Force. But I Duo anyway, just to be able to see, and we get rid of both the Torrential and the Knock. So I know that if I attack, this is just going to die, so I just decide not to attack. But now I can freely set my Magician of Faith without it getting killed by Knock. Nothing happens here. There's a potential that I just flip this over and grab something, but like nothing's really that valuable. Like Delinquent Duo just kill off one card in hand isn't that valuable. Smashing Ground, there's nothing to kill, and then Rhoda, I can Rhoda, but it's just going to die to Mirror Force. So I think I just end up setting my other Faith and passing. Then he goes for. So he has the Book of Moon here, but he can't hit my Silent Swordsman with the Book of Moon to kill it with the Azura Priest because spell effects obviously don't, or any spell effects are negated by his effect. So that's part of the reason, like why Silent Swordsman is nice. Like this, if this was a Monarch, then with that 1,000 defense, it would have just got Book of Moon set and then killed by a monster. So right here, he summons Azura Priest, and he's going to kill both of my faiths. So I just take back the two best cards that I think are available, which are Rhoda and Delinquent Duo. He sets that and then takes that back into hand. I'm still trying to play around this Mirror Force, which there might be an argument that I should have just ran into it already by now, but I don't feel pressured to at all. I feel pretty much in a commanding position. So I just set this, expecting him to summon up the Azura Priest and attack it and then banish it, both of them. So I don't have to deal with the Azura anymore. I could have Delinquent Duo'd the Azura as well, but I didn't feel like that was necessary. So here comes the Azura, and then we're just going to banish both of them. And then he set that so that it doesn't get duoed. And at this point now, I think because I've got another strong beater monster now, I think I just run into the Mirror Force. Also, I've got the Rhoda to get myself a normal summon as well. So there's the Mirror Force. I just set that, and then I think, yeah, also set that just so it doesn't get the duo as a bluff, just so it doesn't get like MST. I don't play Torrential on that just because it's not necessary. I've got a way to beat. I've got like several ways to beat over it. Plus, he doesn't have anything in hand. So funny enough, I draw Heavy Storm after I just set two, but this is like too good of an opportunity to just Heavy Storm. Like if he doesn't negate it, then he loses everything except for this Tribe, and I know I can kill Tribe. So even though I'm losing like a couple cards, like this Heavy Storm is just way too good to pass up. So play the Heavy Storm. I lose everything, he loses everything, and then I'm in just a huge commanding position because I can summon this out and then Rhoda for a monster. I think I just chose not to Rhoda to like commit too much just in case he gets a um his own like Soul of Purity and Light or something, or like a Snatch Steal, and I can Rhoda for freed and kill my Snatch Stolen monster or another Soul of Purity and Light or something like that. So I'm not trying to not overcommit right there. Um, he gets Duo, which does him nothing. I just normal summon out Shining Angel and then attack with both. It's not quite enough to win yet. And then he's got Roulette Barrel. Creature swap, that pretty much seals the game. So I'm just going to Rhoda now for one more monster just to gain myself enough damage because I've already attacked into this face down set card several times and he hasn't played it, so it's a buff. So that was probably the best performance of the deck. And like I said, both games were won without return. In the second game, I swapped out both of my returns for the Trap Dust Shoots, which ended up working quite well. So yeah, I think probably the biggest regret I have is just not having Sakuretsu armors in the side deck. I could have probably won in the finals if I had been more strict on the rules and rule enforcement, but it's just a casual tournament. But one thing I did notice in a lot of my duels was just like not having Sakuretsu armors did put me at a bit of a disadvantage in some of these like very aggro based duels. So that was just a recap of the event. It was quite fun. Getting second was fun. It was 12 participants in total, so a good turnout. But until next time,